This is Sonic, and you're watching Sonic's channel.
Hey fans, Michael Hunter here, and welcome to a very special Sonic's channel video. To celebrate Sonic's 21st anniversary, we are having Roger Craig Smith with us, the official voice of Sonic. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Glad to be here.
Nice. It is a great honor to be able to meet you and to have you on the show.
No, it's not.
Trust me.
Nothing honorable about me, I promise.
I'd have to strongly disagree with that, but yes, are you ready to get started?
Okay.
Alright, here's our first question. Was it your passion at an early age to become a professional voice actor?
You know what? I guess the quick answer to that is no, but only because of ignorance. I didn't really know anything about this. The long answer would be, who knows? Maybe. One of the first performances I ever recalled doing was for was it a preschool? Or I think it was a preschool. It's either preschool, kindergarten, can't remember. I think it might have been kindergarten. We did a production of Charlotte's Web, and there was only one speaking line in the entire play, because it was all just a bunch of us goofing around and dancing around in lines and stuff to tell this Charlotte's Web story, apparently. But they gave me a microphone, and I was the voice of the mayor, I think it was. And I got to say Mr. Zuckerman? Is that the character? Is it the Zuckermans? Anyway, whoever was the I think the uncle character, it was something about like, Mr. Zuckerman, you're going to the fair. And I of course didn't sound like that at that age, but I always think back to that moment going like, funny, they gave me a microphone and I got to say the one speaking line in the play, and that was pretty cool. And I wonder if that just sort of planted the seed of voiceover as a possible career way back then. But honestly, it didn't really kind of come onto my radar until I was about 27, 26, 27, that I was doing stand-up comedy. And I did a lot of characters and voices in my act, and finally had heard from enough people saying, hey, what's the deal with voiceover with you? And I kept saying, I don't know. Finally, of course, I just said, a short answer, but this is turning into a long answer. But I was trying out for the Aspen Comedy Festival, and the woman that was there there were 10 of us that were performing. The woman that was there to give us the yay or nay and critique us after the show, when it came time for her to talk to me about my performance, she just asked me, so who represents you for voiceover? And I said, nobody. And she said, you should look into that. But that's all she said about my stand-up, which had me kind of going, well, maybe I need to not do stand-up anymore and look into this voiceover thing. And that's when I started taking classes in it, that kind of thing, and realized, this is great. This is way better than stand-up. For me. Still miss stand-up sometimes, but for me, it was a perfect fit.
So, like, if you had the opportunity, would you do, like, any extra stand-up type comedy things?
You know what? Not in today's age. I really wouldn't. It's kind of funny with YouTube and Twitter and all this stuff now, and everybody's got a cell phone and everybody's got a video, phone. I really don't have any desire to go out and try to, craft an act at this point. When so many things can be taken out of context and so many things can just be manipulated to be the way they want them to be, it doesn't appeal to me anymore for that risk. So no, I miss the challenge of it, but I definitely don't miss some of the more undesirable aspects to getting out there and trying to get out and go across the country to make money and try to deal with a different audience in a different town with a different sense of humor, with a different pace, that's a fun sort of challenge in one regard, but after a while it can be very exhausting, and that aspect doesn't appeal to me much anymore.
Well, yes, I'm pretty glad you're a voice actor now. You're very talented and you're very good at that.
Thank you.
So here's another question. What were your thoughts when SEGA approached you for being the new voice of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Well, this is interesting because when everybody says, were you approached or that kind of thing, or how did you convince SEGA to let you do this, that kind of thing, I really had no interaction with SEGA until I showed up to do my first job, and even at that point, it wasn't, it was through the glass, essentially, or maybe a handshake of, hey, meet so-and-so, they represent SEGA out here, because the reality is, I'm sort of amazed at how many questions I get from people that are saying, like, what did you do to convince them, or how did you this, how did you that, when the reality is I went out, I got a call from a casting agent who said, we're holding a casting for a video game, please come on down. That was done through my agency. My agents call me up and say, hey, you got a casting call over at such and such studios, get on over there. Show up, they say, hey, this is what we're trying to do, this is kind of what direction we want to skew him in, this is where we want to go, that kind of thing. And it's up to you to, tell us what you think you would do. And so you go in, you audition, a couple weeks go by, they call you up, they go, hey, we've narrowed it down, we got a callback now. So you're in the top running kind of thing. And you go back in, you do a little bit longer of an audition session, and then next thing you know, my agents call me up and they go, hey, you're booked for, a game coming up, next Friday from 2 to 6. And you go, oh, okay. Then you show up and they go, yeah, it's for Sonic. And you go, oh, hey, cool, oh, great, that kind of thing. So I was never really approached or quote-unquote offered the role per se, but, went through the audition process and booked it, and next thing I know, holy cow, this is a passionate fan base that I was unaware of. and so, yeah, that's how it kind of came to be. And of course, I was thrilled to have it. Believe me, it's the iconic nature of this guy doesn't get lost on me, because I can remember playing, Sonic on Sega Genesis, all that stuff. And so, I was thrilled for the opportunity to have it, to have booked the role, but in no way was I ever approached, or did I approach Sega, or did anybody come to me and, say, hey, what do you think about doing this? It was just, unfortunately, it sounds sort of lackluster, but it was another audition on another day, on another week kind of thing, to just go in and try something, and sure enough, for whatever reason, the planets aligned perfectly for me to be selected. I lucked out.
That's pretty awesome. So, what do you enjoy most about voice acting for Sonic and just voice acting in general?
You know what? The freedom, I guess, would be the best response. It's a ton of fun. I really this kind of goes back to the stand-up stuff. One of the things I liked about stand-up comedy was the ownership of, hey man, if I go out and do a really great job on the stage, I can take ownership of the work that I did. It's very gratifying in that way to go, yeah, man, that was my material, my delivery, my persona, my energy, all that stuff. And that's one of the greatest things about voiceover for me as well. It's a very individual effort in a lot of ways. We do a lot of ensemble recording for different shows, but for the most part, it's me inside of a booth with working very closely with a director and a producer and whoever else might be there. And it's just the right amount of creative input, with just the right amount of performance, and with a character like Sonic, who's, he can be snarky and he can be sarcastic, and he's heroic and he's a good guy, and he's got exceptional abilities. Who wouldn't want to be that kind of character, Sometimes the irony of doing this is that you'll go in and do a character that, you might find to be kind of boring. Or you think you're going to go in and do this big, funny cartoon voice, and it's, I've been working on this, and they go, no, we just want you to kind of sound like yourself and just do that. And you go, oh, okay. No complaints, they're still paying. But with Sonic, you get to have fun and be a sort of a sarcastic, kind of goofy character, which is rare. Sometimes you're doing very straightforward performances. And it's still a great job and all kind of stuff, but it's fun to get to do the cartoony, more over-the-top stuff, and I would definitely say that Sonic, he tends to be over-the-top from time to time. So that's one of my most enjoyable aspects to performing Sonic, is just getting to kind of cut loose and do some really, snarky, loud, goofy stuff.
That's pretty cool. So, I know you do the voice for, Ezio from Assassin's Creed, and also Chris Redfield. Who are some other notable characters that you provide the voice for?
Siegfried from Soul Calibur series. Oh gosh. I'm trying to think what else. Did some stuff for Tales of Vesperia a long time ago. What is it, Zagi? Was that the guy? I think it's Zagi. Holy cow. This is what's kind of funny. There have been a number of projects that you just sort of show up and do them, and all of a sudden you almost forget about it and go, oh, wait, that's right, I was in that.
Oh, yeah, didn't you also voice Eddie Gordo?
You briefly for, I think, which one was that? Was it Tekken 6? I think it was Tekken 6. Is that Tekken 6 or am I on the wrong number at that point?
Tekken 6.
Okay, yeah. And that was, again, one of those random things where somebody just says, hey, we need you to come in and do something for me. And you go, oh, okay, cool. I'm on my way. And you don't know what you're doing until you get there kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I think it was just a brief couple of lines in that. But yeah, there's been, oh man, this is embarrassing. I might have to go to my own IMDb page to go, oh, that's right, I did that. Oh, and then this. Some stuff for like the Cars 2 video games. One of my favorite characters was Runt from Chicken Little Ace in Action, because he's just an absolute cartoony goofball. Man, I don't know. Yeah, you put me on the spot. Not that I should be accustomed to that kind of a spot question, but I would say Ezio's been, as far as those high-profile game characters are concerned, that's been both the most challenging and the most gratifying character to have portrayed. He's up there. He's top 3.
Mm-hmm. And who all is on that top 3?
Basically Sonic, Chris Redfield, and Ezio.
Awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
So
do you know if we can expect any new voice acting clips from you for Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, or will they all be recycled voice clips like in the previous game?
Since that game has not come out, I would have no idea. And even if I did know, all those non-disclosure agreements they make us sign would have me unable to tell you either way. So, I honestly have no idea. How's that for a vague answer? It could be, maybe not. Sure, possibly. No, probably not. But maybe. I never know. One never does.
Yeah, hopefully you'll be doing some new voices in that one. Because I was kind of disappointed that there weren't really any new original lines in that one. So hopefully we'll hear some new lines from you in this next one coming up.
Hopefully. We'll see.
All right.
Who knows? I certainly don't.
So what's it like to look back at so many huge and well-known games that you were a part of and just hearing your own voice back in them?
It's insane. When I got into this business, I never thought for a moment that I would get to voice any character of that profile, of that caliber, that kind of thing. So, to sit there and play, Resident Evil 5 with Chris Redfield and to be like, wow, that's so bizarre. I mean, the strangest thing is that I experience it from a completely different sort of perspective than most people ever will get to, because I remember the recording sessions and, oh man, how many times we had to do that stupid line, over and over again, because I couldn't get it right, or I kept making mistakes, or that kind of thing. And then I also very rarely do I get to see any animation or any any of the actual finished product until it hits the store shelves. And like your last question, rarely am I allowed to even speak of it. So it's one of these things where you go in, you do the job, and then all of a sudden 6 months to a year later, the product comes out and you go, oh, that's right, I gotta go see what that all kind of turned out to be. And so it's kind of like revisiting something that you vaguely remember, but then all of a sudden you're seeing it in its finished glory, and it's a trip. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And it's a ton of fun. I mean, who wouldn't want to be? It's the greatest thing about this business is the level of fun that you get to have while working, which is such a fortunate thing to have in life. And then to get to see your finished product, and especially when it comes to something like a Chris Redfield or an Ezio, or even Sonic, because it's like, I'm not a blue hedgehog, and I'm certainly not, a zombie-killing, 6 foot tall, arms like tree trunks type of Chris Redfield character, and I'm definitely not a very tall and handsome Italian, Renaissance era Italy or Italian assassin guy. So to be able to play those characters, knowing that I'm just this nerd, with receding hairline and small dogs and driving a Prius, which is about as untough as anybody could ever be, to get to play these, like a heroic character like Sonic, and to get to play, Chris Redfield and Ezio, all those things. It's nuts when you see this finished product and go, oh yeah, okay, I can see it now. I still only hear me, and like most people, I hate the sound of my own voice, so it's kind of a trip. You listen back and you go, man, I could have done that better. Oh, man, I could have done that one better. Oh, that was so lame. I should have done a better job with that line, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh. All right, we have one more question, and then we'll get into some fan questions. So,
okay.
What are some of your favorite lines that you've ever recorded from a Sonic game or just any game in general?
I loved In Colors the Baldy McNose hairline from Sonic Colors. I thought that was tons of fun, and the BBBE, the best boss beating ever. Oh gosh, and there's a bunch between. I think the running joke with Resident Evil 5, Liam O'Brien pointed out the "I need an egg" line, all that stuff about how weird it was. Like, I need an egg. And then with regard to Ezio, gosh, he's had so many lines that were meant to be funny or that kind of thing. I think one of the best lines was definitely not a line that I ever said, but it was Uncle Mario. In Assassin's Creed 2 when he says, "It's a me, Uncle Mario," and that was an obvious homage, and it had a lot of fans rolling their eyes, obviously, but stuff like that's just tons of fun. I've heard some of the more funny lines that have been in video games were lines that I never got to say, unfortunately. And then there's a lot of stuff that happens that never makes it to the game for really good reason. That's usually just a joke between the folks working on the game, and that's always that's the fun part of this job, is getting to mess around with these characters and do stuff that no one will hopefully ever have to hear.
All right, so here is our first fan question. It is from Tim Brown, and here is his question.
Hi, Mr. Smith. Big fan of yours. Really love your work in Resident Evil, especially. What got you started into voice acting, and what steps did it take for you to start doing this professionally?
Well, first off, Tim, thank you for the question. Thank you for the compliments. Glad you loved RE5 too. More good stuff to come, obviously. You know what? It's interesting. I kind of touched on that when I was talking about, like a lot of people that I've heard that started in this business, somebody starts saying, "Hey, you've got a good voice. You should consider doing voiceover," or "Hey, have you ever worked in radio?" That kind of thing. But really, for me, the stepping stones, sort of, were based on education and just sort of studying a lot of different things. I can look back at stand-up comedy being a really great asset as far as learning how to think fast on your feet, learning how to improvise at the last second, learning how to mic technique, all that kind of stuff. And just going out and taking commercial voiceover classes was essentially my foundation. And then having a little bit of entrepreneurial, fire in your belly never hurts. So for people who are looking to get started, I would just say, if you can't take rejection, this is definitely not the job for you. And if you can't take direction, somebody just saying, "You know what, I see what you're trying to do, but we don't really like that. We want to go a different direction," and not have that hurt your feelings and understand you're there to do a job, then this is, that's not the best career choice for you if that sort of stuff gets you bummed out. But, take some classes, educate yourself, go out and get a general education as well, because there's so many things that happen in the world of voiceover that just you need to pull from your own life experiences, or at least be aware of what someone's talking about when they say, "I need you to act like you have sympathy for this cause," or that kind of thing. I guess the short answer is education. You got to go out and take some classes, be they college, be they acting, or even just a straight, paid for, private commercial voiceover acting class, and then go out and start falling on your face, and just keep falling forward. That's every time I turn on the television, I hear all the stuff that I didn't book, or the radio. I go, man, I remember reading for that commercial, and it's like you just kind of keep going. That's the name of the game. It's a numbers game in a lot of ways, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this one is from Caden Red Pearl, and here's his question.
Hey, Roger Craig Smith, how's it going? This is Caden Red Pearl, and I have a question for you. What was your most impactful role that really caused you to excel in your voice acting career?
That's actually a really good question. I guess working on Ezio kind of brought a lot of different things. It was a very sort of a vulnerable role for me. I obviously don't speak Italian fluently or at all. And my, with the auditions for that thing, I did my worst Antonio Banderas impression, so it was sort of a Spanish accent, if you will, and there were times in the recording process to where I just felt like, man, oh man, what are they doing hiring me to do this? This is just so strange. And so that kind of gave me a lot of, it helped me understand the importance of being able to rely very heavily on a director. I worked very closely with Amanda Wyatt on that, and that was a very collaborative effort from all the guys, Patrice Desolé, Corey May, AJ, all these guys that we were working with on that game, I think resulted in a really great product. So I started to feel a little bit more, my acting oats, and kind of felt like, you know what, I'm actually able to kind of understand this character and delve into it. So I think that was sort of a turning point for me in feeling like, okay, I can be proud of this job, I can be proud of this work. But I still feel like there's so much to learn and so many places to go. There isn't a session where I work with another actor that I just don't find myself going, oh man, his choice or her choice was so right on, and it's the farthest thing from my mind. So I try to, soak up as much from the folks around me and see how I would sort of take their approach and make it my own kind of thing. Which sounds like a very vaguely plagiaristic approach to things, but it's more just my fascination of like how everybody's got a different story about how they get started in this business, and how everybody's got a different idea of what they do with lines and a script and all that kind of stuff, and their process, their approach. So for me, Assassin's Creed was sort of a coming of age of kind of going, oh, okay, I can work this, or I can try that. So I would say that one had the most impact as far as me feeling good and like I started to excel. But the reality is I still feel like an infant in this business, and like I'm hoping to learn to walk soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're already off to I guess you could say you're off to a very good start.
Thank you.
Voicing Sonic, like one of the most popular video game characters in the history of video games.
It's crazy.
But yeah, here is one from Eddie LeBron.
Oh.
Hey Roger, Eddie LeBron here from Blue Core Studios, the director of the Sonic fan film. Quick question, what traits and characteristics did you feel were important to bring to your take on Sonic? With about 2 decades of mythology to work off of and the various takes of Sonic, I'm very interested in hearing what was important to you to bring to your specific vision and take on Sonic. Thank you.
What? That's also a very good question, and it kind of goes along those lines with when people were saying, why did you choose to do it like this, or what did you, why didn't you tell SEGA that you needed to blah blah blah, that kind of thing. This is along those same lines. There really wasn't an opportunity for me to kind of come in and say really anything about how I was going to do anything. Usually, unless you're some big on-camera celebrity who has a very distinctive voice. Usually the process is you go in, you audition, they give you direction, you work with a casting director or a session director or whoever might be there. They tell you what they're looking for based on what they've heard from the client, and then you sort of try to deliver a performance that falls, somewhere in those parameters. So, I guess obviously they were taking stuff from the past and saying this is where we were, this is where we want to go. And so really it's kind of an organic approach. There wasn't any sort of preconceived notion as to what I was going to be doing when I walked in. I wasn't going to go, you know what, I think this is how Sonic should sound, and here's how I'm going to do it, and you'll all just, deal with it. There were a number of different versions that we kind of, tried working with before they've eventually said, yeah, that's the direction we want to go. That's the character we want you to do. And then from there, it's developed and blossomed and done, it's going to have little variations here and there. Because obviously from game to game, there might be months, if not years in between these things. But there wasn't really any, I didn't really have any sort of, I'm going to bring this experience and this into this role. It was more like, what do you guys want from me? Mm-hmm. And that's generally that's how a lot of these the character development of any character goes. You rarely get a ton of freedom with these things before somebody kind of like either reins you in, or sometimes they do let you kind of go off and go goofy. That's usually animation and cartoons that allow that more so than video games, but you never know. But with regard to Sonic, it was more just like, hey, this is the voice that we had before. This is where we want to take it, because they played all the different stuff from literally from Jaleel through Ryan through Jason. It was they had everything. And then you go in saying, okay, and then I just basically walk in and say, so what is it that you guys want to do? Well, we're thinking about trying this, we're thinking about trying that. And you kind of go off. You start trying to mess around, different voices and different words, and they go, no, stay away from that. Try this, try that, and then you wind up with something that collaboratively everybody kind of went, yeah, that's a character, that's the guy we're looking for. Mm-hmm. So, I know it's kind of maybe a disappointing answer, because I'm sure people would love for me to be able to say that I can take more ownership over this, but the reality is, it's the job is I go in and do whatever it is that they're asking for based on, do they want to take it in a new direction, or sometimes you're doing something where the age range has been skewed to a much older or a much younger audience, and you have to make those little adjustments, here and there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this one is from Matt.
Hey Roger, I'm Matt, the owner of Tails' channel. Just wanted to say you did a great job in Sonic Generations and in Sonic Colors. You did awesome. Well, here's my question. Are you good friends with Jason Griffith, the old voice of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Matt, just Matt. Interesting. Everybody else gave full names or code names, but just Matt. Matthew. Yes, formerly Matthew. You know what? I don't know that I've actually ever met Jason in. So the answer is we're not friends. Not to say that I wouldn't want to be friends, but I can't say that I've actually met Jason. And I would be very embarrassed if I have and I don't recall. But I don't think we've worked together. We might have been on the same projects in some other game, but that's there's tons of people I've quote unquote worked with that I've never met. Because you generally go in and record these things individually. But no, so I've never really met Jason. I think we're friends on Facebook, but we all know how meaningful the Facebook friendship truly is. But no, so no, I've that sounds sort of harsh to say. No, we're not friends. No, I'm not friends with the guy. But it's just from a lack of I think working together and actually getting to know him. But I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there who would love to watch a fight to the death or anything like that. Basically we have a cage match between Jaleel, Jason, Ryan, myself.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, see, it's that's what everybody would like. 4 men enter, 1 man leave. That's what they would all adore, I'm sure. And I would imagine the majority of them would hope that I wouldn't be one of the ones leaving that cage match. But no, I honestly I don't know that I've met Jason. And from everything I've seen and heard, he's a very nice guy, and I know he's got a passionate fan base out there. And my only hope is I can do honor to the character. I know I'm not Jason. Jason's not me. Ryan's not me. I'm not Ryan. Ryan's not Jason. Jason's not Ryan. And nobody's Jaleel. All that stuff. It's one of those. It's an interesting element to when someone, I think from SEGA UK, contacted me and sent me an email saying, "Hey, we're gonna announce the new voice cast. So you'll probably get some emails." And I remember thinking, nothing's gonna happen. And then within, I think, 3 minutes of them announcing it, my inbox just started pouring in with some support, but mostly people going, "Who do you think you are? How could you take this away from Jason? How could you?" It was like, well, guys, I showed up for a job interview. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So big shoes to fill because of this character and because of what it means. And everybody's done, a great job. So it's an honor to be able to be, one of 4 names that have gotten to portray, the voice of such an iconic character. So I rambled there. I apologize.
Sure exactly how much time you have left, but we have about 5 more fan questions if you're able to answer them all.
Yeah, I'll try to zip through them.
All right, so here is one from Gregory Harris.
Hello, Roger Craig Smith. My name is Gregory Harris, and thank you for taking the time to answer my question. I would like to know if you had ever played any Sonic games before you became the official voice actor of Sonic the Hedgehog himself. If so, which ones, and do you particularly have a favorite, or do you just only like playing the modern day games?
Oh, well, I know Gregory Harris from Facebook, too. See, that's, again, we're really close friends, me and Gregory Harris. We go way back. Back to when I clicked accept friend request. Way back then. You know what? I do recall, obviously, Sega Genesis back in the day, Green Hill Zone, the earlier stuff, excuse me, I think I just belched into the microphone, that's good. I do some of my earliest memories are just of the old side-scrolling days, and then I can remember being in my apartment. Oh gosh, I wouldn't even remember which game it was, to be honest. One sec here. Oh, we're still there. I couldn't remember which game it was, but it was one of the more 3D ones, and it was one of the more exploratory. You go through the. Gosh, what was it? There was like a mall.
Sonic Adventure.
Okay, Sonic Adventure. Yep. Yeah. So I recall that, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is an interesting approach to things, but I think I kind of preferred the old school. The old school stuff. That's one of the reasons why I think Colors is a cool approach to things, because the way they're sort of blending all of that stuff together. To say nothing of like it has the feel of that old side scrolling, but now they've incorporated some of the more three-dimensional elements to it. So that's ambitious. I'm looking forward to the next one, whatever that might be, and whatever direction they're going to go in, or however they're going to take it. And I am looking forward to All Stars. To the racing game, just because I'm a fan of racing and I like racing games, and that I'm sure that's going to be a ton of fun. I mean, who doesn't like all the kart series games, all that stuff?
Yeah. All right. Plus, they're like doing it very unique, having the vehicles transform. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, going over different surfaces and terrain and stuff. That's cool.
All right. This is one from Lefty Heat.
Hey, what's up, Roger? I'm a big fan of your work, and I wanted to know, what is your favorite Sonic game?
Oh shoot! I guess this is kind of going back into where we sort of not just were. Oh man, it would be wrong to say Sonic Colors because man, I mean I was in it. No, you know what? I've always given this pat answer to a lot of those types of questions for any of these games. The next one. To be honest, we live in a really exciting time when, boy oh boy, technology is pushing so many things so far and in such vastly different directions. I can't wait to see where they go with the series next. So, but as far as if I was to go back and want to sit down with something, I still haven't even finished Colors, so I would imagine probably going through Colors would be a good way to spend some time, or just to kick it old school, maybe go with the 20th anniversary and just play some rather nicer looking, old school side-scrolling graphics.
Yeah. All right, here is one from Charles Clement, also known as Tails86, and here's his question.
Hey, what's going on, Roger? This is Tails86 with Weekly Review. I've got a question for you. Have you ever gotten the chance to meet the original creator in person of Sonic the Hedgehog, Yuji Naka? If so, what do you think of him as a developer still? Thanks.
Well, this is going to be a very boring answer because no. At which point I can't even expand the answer beyond nope, I haven't met him. But as a developer, I'm sure he's wonderful. I'm sure he's working on some fast. Yeah, exactly. I feel bad. It's like, yeah. Have you ever met the President of the United States? And if so, tell us what his favorite color was. It was like, I haven't. So I don't know what his favorite color is. No, I don't. No, I'm trying to think if I have it. It's so funny because a lot of this stuff, these games are sometimes, as far as the voiceover sessions, are very quick. So it's walk in, shake a bunch of hands from folks, and boom, open up that script and start going. And because time is money, it's gotta get you in there and dance, kid. So you go in, you record, and then next thing you know, it's like you might have something later on that afternoon, or you got to get home and get some dinner in your belly, so you're just out the door. That's fairly typical. It's one of the reasons why I don't think that while we might have appeared in a game together before, to say that I've never worked with Jason might be a lie. We might have appeared on the same game kind of thing, but never met the guy. So it's and that's it's for as often as you work on these projects with hundreds of people. Sometimes you meet 7 of them, and then you're out. So.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's a wonderful developer. I mean, look, what the guy's done, pretty iconic. Let's be honest.
All right, so this one is from Gabriel Soto.
Yo, Roger, what's up?
What up?
So, I was wondering, what do you think of the previous Sonic voice actors? I think they're pretty sweet. Yeah.
So that pretty much sounds like a Sonic. And this goes, I mean, again, I guess I sort of covered this earlier on. I mean, everybody's done a phenomenal job with this character. Honestly, if they hadn't, we wouldn't even be here having this conversation, because the character and the franchise would have tanked just due to poor voice acting. At some point, people would have been like, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to not play this game ever again. So no, everybody's done a phenomenal job because they've kept the guy relevant, and the character's been able to grow and do different things and appeal to different audiences. So I think everybody did a phenomenal job.
All right, this one is from a very strange individual. He thinks that he is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Uh-oh.
So here's his question.
Hey Roger, this is Sonic the Human. My question for you is, what is your favorite food? And it better be chili dogs. Is it chili dogs? Thanks.
Well, Sonic the Human, I would have to say chili dogs, because you're kind of threatening in your question. I fear the repercussions of it not being chili dogs. Well, no, let's just. I'll be honest. I don't want to lie. I don't want to pander. I don't want to, come off as phony here. As I use a weird voice, I don't want to come off as phony, so I want to be real. But pizza is Roger's favorite food. Can't beat a pizza. But who doesn't love a good chili dog too? I mean, come on, that's the best of all things in the world. Chili dogs.
Yes, best of all hot dogs.
Yeah, there you go. It's also like saying that bacon wrapped anything is awesome, and it's true. A bacon-wrapped hot dog, I think, would be the greatest thing on earth. A bacon-wrapped chili dog rolled into a pizza, battered and deep-fried, and then placed between two hot dog buns would be the greatest thing ever, topped with chili.
That sounds epic.
Thank you very much. And then a little milkshake to wash it all down.
That would be awesome.
I would go for that.
All right.
Calories.
So here is basically our final question.
Final one.
Do you have any advice for those looking to pursue a career in voice acting?
Yes, and that kind of goes along the lines with what I was saying earlier too. It's just start by educating yourself. You've got to get a foundation and go out and live your life too. There's a lot to be said for me looking back on what got me to where I was at. Was never me saying, okay, I'm going to be a voice actor and I'm going to spend, the next 20 years developing, something that's going to get me into that business. It was me kind of trying a bunch of different things and going out and just pursuing things that were interesting to me. And then finally, when more people just started saying, this might be something that you really should look into, I went, okay, I'll give it a shot. I looked into it, and then it turned out to be something that I was, that I loved being able to do. I honestly, I get depressed if I start thinking about the day that might come when I have to go do something else with my life. And because I love this job so much. So, in the practical sense, my advice is go out and educate yourself. Take some classes in voiceover training. There's a lot of online resources now. Technology is really driving this business in a lot of new directions. So look for some online training courses if you're not in like a major metropolitan area where there's a lot of classes available to you. Read books, but most importantly, go out and educate yourself. Anything, high school, college, vocational school, anything, because your life experience is going to be what you pull from as an actor, and as a voice actor especially. You're going to want to know, crazy uncles and, weird guys that work at the 7-Eleven that you might go, man, that'd be a really good character to try. Because the more you go out and experience things and educate yourself, the more you're going to be able to pull from, I like to call it your little tool belt. That you pull from to get these jobs. Everything becomes, another tool in your arsenal. Stand-up was really beneficial to me. I went to college and studied screenwriting, which has really helped me in a lot of ways of understanding character arc, and understanding what it is that a script is intended to do and where it needs to go, where characters come from, how they're developed, and also understanding a character, that kind of thing. And all of that stuff I was doing without any knowledge that I was going to wind up in a career, in voiceover. So, the vague general answer is go educate yourself. There are a ton of great books out there. Oh shoot, this is really embarrassing. I know Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt have a book, and it's voice voiceover voice actor. Oh, that's so bad of me. I'm trying to pimp out their stuff, and I'm getting the name wrong. Hang on. I'm going to let's see.
I'll probably have some old music playing right here.
Yeah, good. Or not, just, let's see. Because I'm just Googling. I just want to make sure I get the voice actor, what it's like behind the mic. That's the one. I was like, voice actor, voiceover? No, voiceover, voice actor, what it's like behind the mic. I would highly suggest you go get that book because this is from industry insiders who are sharing their stories of what it's like. Bob Bergen was a guy that I studied under for animation, and if you go to bobbergen.com, he has an excellent FAQ section on his website that basically spells out, what you can expect about getting started in the world of voiceover. And a lot of people hate to hear that you're not going to go out and be a member of the Simpsons voice cast right off the bat, unless you're extremely lucky. That could happen to anybody, but the reality is most agencies really want you to be good at reading commercials because that's usually the bread and butter moneymaker for most agencies, and there's a high turnover, and they want to know, can you read commercial copy? And while the video games and all that stuff are a ton of fun, sometimes they're not the most lucrative projects. In which case, an agency is not going to want to focus too much on those. So you gotta kind of hone your chops in a lot of different areas. That's why I always say, go educate yourself. Go take some classes, get out and live your life, and keep falling forward. This is a numbers game business in a lot of ways, and it takes a tremendous amount of resolve to understand that the phone might not have been ringing all week long, but that doesn't mean that you're worthless. It doesn't mean that it's not going to ring next week. And peaks and valleys, keep falling forward and believe in yourself and never ever give up, because much like in stand-up comedy, I watched a lot of people come and go, and some of them were excellent and really good, but they just didn't want to stick with it, or they didn't want to work that hard. And you'll come to find that's true in a lot of things in life, I guess. And the voiceover industry is no exception. So it's go out, take the classes so you know what you're talking about, and then just keep trying to work harder than the next guy, and you might wind up, having a career in it. How's that? Did that sound like a motivational speaker?
Pretty much. All right, so that's about it for this interview with Roger Craig Smith. Thank you very much, Roger, for joining us on Sonic's channel.
Michael,
and
thank you.
Is there any final words that you would like to say to everyone watching?
Oh, man. Keep your eyes open for Baldy McNosehair.
That was not my best version of Sonic at this point, but the voice is fatigued, Michael. There's only so much I can do. You understand, right?
I was actually going to ask you if there was anything Sonic would like to say, but you already covered that, so.
Oh, well, there you go. No, man, thank you very much, and I really do appreciate all the support from fans, and I promise you, I even listen to all the criticisms and hope that I'm, like I've said, there's big shoes to fill, and this is one of the the highest profile characters I very likely will ever play in my life, and I hope I'm doing him justice, and I hope to keep getting better and better and better, and making people fall in love with this guy all over again.
All right. Thank you again for joining us. You do a great Sonic voice. It's one of the best I've heard.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. And make sure you subscribe for more special videos and the latest Sonic updates. And yeah, thank you all for watching. So
yes.
This is Michael Hunter.
Support Michael. Subscribe. Come on. You guys are what keep this franchise alive. Do something.
Thank you for your support. That is
That
awesome.
sounds threatening. I apologize, Michael.
Nah, you're all good.
Oh.
But yes, this is Michael Hunter.
I'm Roger Craig Smith.
And I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.